Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. I am Brendan Plays. It's another Thursday and plenty more wrestling news to get into this week. Some of the topics today will include the recent WWE removing the brand split pay-per-views. Obviously, you guys know I love the brand split, so this is a bit of an issue that I've got something to say about. Dolph Ziggler staying with WWE. What's his current status? What's his new contract deal? Some injury return rumors, Hall of Fame chat, some new people coming to 205 Live, and obviously all the talk about Raw and Smackdown this week as well. Plenty to chat about. We're going to talk all about it here today on the podcast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, you can make sure you can listen to this podcast on our other networks such as iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and of course, as you probably are listening to it, on YouTube. So there's a few more places you can get the show on the go if you don't, if you can't, well, sit down and watch it on YouTube via the video format. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into today's show. So, for me, we've been grinding away, playing more TW. We've got more TW streams planned for the weekend, so make sure you are around for those. So we're going to stream, we're going to try and do 2 or 3 hours on two different days on both Saturday and Sunday this weekend. I know I haven't, the stream I did on the weekend, it was a little shorter than I would have hoped, just an hour and a half. I wanted to do 2 hours. We got bragging rights coming up, then Money in the Bank, I believe, is after that, or one more after, and then Money in the Bank. But getting very close to some of the big pay-per-views of 2010, which is very, very exciting. So we'll be doing that on this weekend, so make sure you are around for the TW streams. We recently uploaded TNA TW, and I've got this newfound love again for TNA TW. And obviously, we are getting to the Bound for Glory series and Slammiversary, which I think was the most interesting time for me personally in the series. So I'm really excited to do that again, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll be doing all that again very, very soon, and I think that's going to be lots of fun. And we got some serious signings that we potentially could get, and some big names coming in, maybe some big names leaving, and developing a few more as well. So lots to look forward to there. So if you haven't already, check that one out as well. And what else? I was going to do a supercard video, but I've actually made a bit of a blunder. 2K sent me some codes to do a supercard video. Accidentally screwed that up, so I don't know. You might see one, you might not. We'll see. And I'm looking at doing some more Fortnite videos. I uploaded one a couple days ago of me getting a nice little victory. I was pretty proud of it, so I wanted to share it. But I'm thinking of maybe doing a compilation video of some of my clutch victories or some of my good victories that I feel as though I enjoyed, and just showing a minute or two clips and in a 5-minute video or something like that. So if you're interested in Fortnite, I might do some of those and just kind of compile some of my game-winning kills or game-winning moments together. So just to make that something a little different, something fun, because I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, a ridiculous amount of Fortnite. So that might be something you might expect to see on the channel. I think we probably should start streaming Fortnite a little bit more as well. So sometime in the next week or two, I might start streaming Fortnite a little bit more regularly. Because, I know it's the craze right now and everyone's playing it, but I really do enjoy playing it a lot, and I've been playing it quite a bit and getting a lot better at it, I think. Probably when I streamed it the first couple of times, I was okay, not real great, not real bad, but now I'm starting to get more consistently victories and playing a lot better. So hoping that I can keep on getting better and share some of my clips and some of my best moments. Look, I'm no ninja, that's for sure, but I feel like I am getting decent at the game with a good squad that I've got around me. So really enjoying it, and I'll try and share some of that gameplay on the channel soon. Look, at the end of the day, it'll be something different as well. As you guys know, I'm a big gamer. I play lots and lots of games. So don't just play WWE. WWE is just what I enjoy doing videos on. But I've always been open to doing other games, but there's just been no other games that's really, kept my attention or I've had interest in doing videos on. And I don't really have, I'm not going to do commentaries or, show you all the new weapons and Fortnite and things like that. People already do that. But if I have a few cool moments in Fortnite, if I have some good, game-winning kills, I'll share it. Simple as that. But that's pretty much it from me. We are getting close to the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view or special event on Universe Mode. That probably won't be streamed. I don't know. Depends. But that should be coming up in the next week or so. And maybe next weekend, actually. And then after that, we've got the Royal Rumbles. So back-to-back maybe back-to-back weekends, I don't know, but back-to-back, very, very close to one another, big events. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys as well. And that should be a lot of fun. Those two big events. We haven't had a takeover for a little bit, and this takeover I think is going to be one of the better ones we've had, with some good matches on there. And obviously the Royal Rumble is always great, no matter what. So I'm hoping that I can keep that trend going and make it as epic as I possibly can. Because to me, last year's Royal Rumble is perhaps my favourite Universe Mode pay-per-view I've ever done. My favourite. So I'm hoping that I can replicate that again this year and do something pretty cool as well. But let's move on and let's get into the headline topics for this week in WWE. And first up, WWE rumoured to be removing the brand splitted pay-per-views. They are keeping the brand split though, so that's staying, but they're having joint pay-per-views. Something that I do in my Universe Mode is have joint branded pay-per-views. I don't do separate pay-per-views because, in my opinion, in a video game, it's very difficult to build up enough matches that would make an interesting hour and a half, 2 hour show. Whereas if I spend the time and spread out some of the storylines and give it a bit more build up, a bit more story to it over the course of the 4 weeks we've got in game time, I feel like we can produce better quality. So maybe WWE's starting to feel the same. WWE's starting to say, okay, let's not have as long a build up for our pay-per-views, and let's kind of join them together, because then we don't have to have big matches on every pay-per-view. We don't have to give away a big match on Backlash. We can save it for the next one, the next big one, because we don't have to sell this pay-per-view, because we might have a big match from Raw instead of, and SmackDown can have a lower end matchup. They can kind of do it that way and just kind of reserve some of their big guns and some of their, their big storylines and big matches for later, or, stretch it out a bit. And overall, yeah, they're going to have a lot of title matches, so it might mean you might see more TV title matches, but they already do a hell of a lot of TV title matches. Too much, in my opinion. It feels like we see a title match nearly every week, at least on either Raw or SmackDown. It's getting a bit ridiculous. I feel like title matches should be reserved for pay-per-views. Again, another thing that's making pay-per-views less special is the fact that we're already getting TV title matches all the time. We don't get a lot of title changes, but we get a lot of opportunities for change on TV. So that might increase with this change. That might increase. We might see more title matches on TV and Raw and SmackDown. But I feel like the pay-per-view qualities will be better, because you're going to really have the best matches just on the pay-per-view. You're going to have the two world title matches, whether the IC or US, at least both, if not at least one of them. Probably one or two tag team title matches and one or two women's title matches. So you're going to really pick out the best feuds going on right now and stick it on the pay-per-view and make that special. There's also been talk of making the pay-per-views 4 hours every single time. Every pay-per-view 4 hours. To me, that's a mistake, because 4 hour Royal Rumble is already pretty long. A 3 hour pay-per-view you can sit through, you get through a couple good, couple stinker matches you don't really care about, but then there's another good one that you like. And then there's probably another match you might not care about, but then there's another good one. There's always good stuff to come. There's always enough there to interest you where you're not that bored. 4 hours, if it's a bad pay-per-view and it's 4 hours, it's going to be a long 4 hours. Really, really long. And they've had a few bad pay-per-views. Good 4 hours, yeah, but a good 4 hours is still long. That's the thing. Even if it's good, it's still 4 hours. So it's still a long, long period of time. And that's the issue. I think 3 hours is the best. I still feel like Raw should be 2 hours, SmackDown 2 hours. But it is what it is. It's not going to happen. Maybe in the TV negotiations, I don't know. But, look, 4 hours I think is far too long. Yes, they'll get all their title matches on there. Yes, they'll get every pay-per-view match. But again, that way you're not really upping the quality. If you're going to make it longer, you're still going to have basically the same matches you're already going to have on the separate pay-per-views. You're just doing it on the same one. So you're still going to have that shitty women's match that maybe you won't care about, that's got no build behind it. Or you might not care about the tag team title match. It's still going to be on the card. So rather than keeping the main show just top quality stuff, the best of their ability, they're going to squeeze everything on over a 4 hour show in an hour or maybe even 2 hour long pre-show. Who knows? It's going to get way too long. Crowd's going to get jaded. It's not a good idea. Keep it 3 hours and let it be like that. But I personally don't like it. I prefer having separate pay-per-views, but SmackDown really isn't interesting me at all right now. There's nobody on SmackDown that I'm really interested in at all, whereas on Raw, I'm a huge fan of Elias and Braun Strowman. Their segment this week was incredible. I loved every moment. I had a big smile on my face throughout the entire segment. Thought it was fantastic. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But there's more exciting stuff. The bigger names. Ronda Rousey's going to be on Raw. Brock Lesnar's still on Raw. John Cena's mainly on Raw. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, all the big names are on Raw. So I can understand why they're probably thinking, we might need to do a change here because SmackDown's just not drawing. And, we stick the Raw and SmackDown crew together, we might have better quality shows and we might have more interest in each show. So I understand why they're doing it, but it was always going to be a challenge, and I think they've failed in that challenge to make the brand split as interesting as they possibly can. It started off really well. The first year, I thought SmackDown was far better, but ever since the shake-up, and I think the change in creative team as well, I think Road Dogg took over or whatever, it's been a real dip in quality. It really has been. Raw's got better, and SmackDown's gotten really bad. Like, SmackDown is almost repetitive every week. There just isn't any interesting people on the show to me, and I'm just really struggling to keep my attention, and I'm just kind of watch it as a chore, really. Whereas Raw, Raw some weeks is not great, but most weeks I tune in and I'm really enjoying most of it, and I go away from Raw going, hey, I really like this, I really like that. Yeah, this wasn't that great, but whatever. And for me personally, the last, ever since the Raw Rumble and the new change of graphics and things like that for Raw, it feels like they're really trying hard to make Raw great. What they're doing, for me, is they're really extending match lengths, so they're having more big matches on Raw. So they're having, John Cena, Finn Balor, Reigns and The Miz. Reigns and Sheamus, Cena and The Miz. The women's matches have been good as well. So they're extending some of these matches, trying to make them bigger and better, and it's working. It's making, it's much more entertaining. They're having much better matches, and it's working really well. Some of the segments they're having, like, for example, the Strowman and Elias one's been good. Braun Strowman's been great all the time. And, for the most part, Raw's really improved. It's the last few weeks has been really good. I've really, really enjoyed it. The match quality's certainly gotten better, so they're making some good changes. Whereas with SmackDown, they're just not really making those changes to make it interesting. They're having okay matches. Ziggler and Zayn was pretty good this week. I enjoyed that one. But, for the most part, it's not really there. And just the interest in the wrestlers they have on the show just isn't there. And it's making it a little bit bland for me to watch. So maybe adding both brands together is not a bad idea. Maybe it is for the best, and maybe it will help the quality of the show, maybe help attendance and even network buys as well. We'll have to wait and see, but I guess they've analysed it and decided this is the right move to make, and we'll see if it works. But I can say right now, 4 hours every pay-per-view is not going to be good. Not going to be good at all. Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, this week it's been announced that he has, gotten himself a new WWE deal. And he's got himself a bit more money. $1.5 million contract is the rumoured amount. Apparently he was always going to re-sign, so this is always just a storyline. He was never really threatening to leave. It was always, the plan for him to stay there. He never really wanted to leave, which is interesting because I feel like Ziggler, I think a lot of us want to see him go away from WWE for a year or two, have success in Japan, maybe Ring of Honor, do that for a bit, go away, do that, have success, build his brand and his stock back up a little bit, and then come back to WWE a bit freshened up, and we're more excited about him. But he's never done it. I guess WWE's always, all he's known. He's been there 14 years now. I think he's been in the system. So it's been a long time. He's been around for a long, long time. He's had success. He's had a lot of down. But for the most part, he's been solid. They just haven't used him well, but I just think his time is kind of past it. There's been periods of time where he's had a career resurgence and they've done nothing with it. I think of Survivor Series 2014, I think it was, when he helped the WWE win, helped beat Triple H, the Authority. That moment, people were loving him again, and they did absolutely nothing with it. This new gimmick he's trying with the whole no entrance music and things like that, it's the same kind of thing. He cut the same type of promo this week. So really, he's come back from this absence, hasn't really explained himself, and he's done nothing different. So what the hell happened? So it's really all over the place. So I guess 1.5 million is really hard to, say no to, because you keep doing this. If he gets paid 1.5 million for the next few years, he'll set himself up for life, and maybe he'll look back on his career and say, man, maybe I should have made the jump. Who knows what could have happened? What if? But, then he'll look in his bank account and he'll be okay. So, I don't think it's going to be a big deal for him, but it would have been nice to see him challenge himself and go away for a year and test himself elsewhere. It would have been really good for the independent scene as well, because he would be a big name. He would be a big name, and he still can go at a very high level. But, just not going to happen. So he's staying, he's got a good deal, and let's hope that he does something a little bit different. I just don't know what direction you take him in. Do you keep him in this, upper mid-card spot where he gets a few wins, he looks good, but then ultimately loses to the guy they're actually pushing? Is that the spot for him, or do you go with him and really try to push him back? I feel like it's too late for the push. So he probably will stay in the spot that he's in, but he's getting paid pretty well to do what he's doing. So, whatever. Can't complain too much, can you? Big Cass, a little bit of update and news about him. Apparently he's been back in the Performance Center starting to work out again. So I would say probably after WrestleMania we might see him back. It's been quite some time. I think around SummerSlam he got injured. So it's been a while since he's been back in the ring. Probably won't be back in the ring just yet, but I reckon after WrestleMania, maybe the pay-per-view after WrestleMania, we could probably see him come back, and that would be good. I mean, before he got injured, they were really pushing him hard, so it'd be interesting to see what they do with him. Enzo's now gone as well, so they can't pick up that feud, which I think would have been great. Bring back Big Cass as a babyface, and Enzo as the really annoying, arrogant heel in 205 Live. Have him come back and beat up Enzo and kick his ass as a babyface. I think that would have worked out really well, but it's a shame Enzo's no longer there. He's gone, and speaking of Enzo, who knows if he'll ever come back? I don't think he will. I think he's done. We still don't know what's going on. I think the person who accused him of rape came back on social media or whatever, and I don't know the quote, so I'm not going to really say it, but I feel like she said something on the lines of, I know people don't believe me, but it's true, etc., etc. She didn't want the fame, but whatever. So, we don't know more about that yet, but let's hope we start to hear more about it and get down to the bottom of it. But yeah, Big Cass, after WrestleMania, is probably when I expect to see the big man back, and that should be good for him. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. I think he might even go to Smackdown. I think they might just go, boom, reset, freshen him up, put him on Smackdown, and see how he goes over there. This is a bit of an interesting one. Hall of Fame rumors this week, and this week is Jeff Jarrett. So apparently there's a list of names that WWE would consider putting into the Hall of Fame, and Jeff Jarrett was put on the list. It's an interesting one because obviously WWE's had heat with Jeff Jarrett. Obviously Jeff Jarrett was fired from WWE and then went ahead and created TNA, essentially, created the competition and owned the competition for a long, long time, been involved in the competition, well, up until last year, I think. So he's been heavily involved trying to compete against WWE all this time, and they're going to consider putting him into the Hall of Fame. It's interesting because I don't even think he's a Hall of Famer, to be honest. He was an upper mid-card guy in WWE for his entire career. A couple IC title reigns, yes. Went to WCW at a time where there really wasn't a lot of star power in WCW in 2000. He got the belt a number of times just from really weird, crazy booking. Look, if you want to count his TNA career, which they don't, but if he counted his TNA career, I would say, yeah, he's a Hall of Fame guy. Yeah, he booked himself to give him many, many title reigns, but, it is what it is. But, WWE Hall of Famer, I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like he was a mid-card talent, and if you're going to put him in the Hall of Fame, then that opens the door for many, many other people. Yes, he got a lot of title reigns for WCW, but like I said, it was at a really poor time. So I kind of discredit that a little bit. So I think in 2000 there was like 20-something different people that held the belt or 20 different title reigns, something stupid, and you'd get the belt and hold it for 2 weeks and lose it again. So it was really crazy times. Jeff Jarrett, a bit lucky to be in that situation. So, yeah, for me, I wouldn't put him in, but apparently they are considering him, and even though all this heat and what he's done, to even consider him is really it's a big call. It's a strange one. And obviously Ivory was announced that she'll be going into the Hall of Fame this year, confirmed. So, a few people didn't think Ivory deserved to be in it, but I feel like she does. Obviously being in Glow and then coming to the WWE later on in her career at an older age and winning the Women's Championship a number of times, having a pretty successful run with the right to censor. So I would say yeah. I'd say yeah, she'll go in. I think, winning the championship a few times there. And when I think of the women's division, I would rattle off a few names. Obviously Trish, Lita, Victoria, Molly Holly, and Ivory would probably be one of those first I think of. So if she's one of the first I think of, then that probably means that she paved the way a bit and maybe deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm all for it, sure. And last little piece of news regarding 205 Live. Buddy Murphy from NXT, the Australian Buddy Murphy. So well done to him. He's heading up to the 205 Live roster. So if you haven't already, check out the vignette they did on him. I watched it on YouTube on the WWE's channel. A little vignette about Buddy Murphy. Really good. Really, really good. I think it highlighted him well. Made it feel like a big deal that he was coming there. So, big deal. He's been training hard to get under 205. And made it like a big signing. Made it feel like a big deal. Even though he's kind of essentially been a job guy in NXT. And, tag champ at one point. But recently not doing a lot. So it's a good move for him to get up there. Probably won't do a lot there, but it's something different for him and gets to be on the main roster and gets to finally show himself on a bigger stage, I guess. Even though probably NXT gets more viewers than 205 Live. But we'll see how he goes. And obviously being Australian, he is actually a good worker. There's no doubt about that. He's a good worker. Probably lacks the charisma to get him to that next level, but he's a good mechanic in the ring, so we'll see how he goes, and he might fit in well in 205 Live, and hopefully he has success. Got to cheer on the Aussies. You have to, absolutely. All right, moving along to Monday Night Raw this week, and we started the Raw off with John Cena and The Miz, with the loser entering the Elimination Chamber first. The Miz obviously losing. So Miz into the Chamber first, which seems to be is going to be a triple threat start. 7 men now in the chamber. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor added in as well, controversially, ending Raw. Angle announcing both men in. So, for the first time ever, 7 men in the chamber. It just feels like the WWE just love doing first time evers. They're just obsessed with them. Anytime they can do one, they'll go for it. First time ever, 7 men in the chamber, which would obviously mean 3 to start. So that opens up, an opportunity to do 8 again, or more. Fatal 4-way to start, and then they bring in 4 more afterwards, which I'm not against. I think that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad way to spice up the chamber. There's no reason why they couldn't. So, yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's an interesting thing to do. I think fatal 4-way to start and 4 more in afterwards would be a great way to showcase a lot of guys, and also, a pretty crazy match. But, so I think the Raw Elimination Chamber is looking really good. The men's Elimination Chamber, I should say, is looking really, really good. Elias is in there, Strowman's in there, so a couple of my favorites. Cena, Balor, Rollins, Reigns, The Miz, so they've got some star power in there for sure, and a couple of up-and-coming names as well. So it's good. It's good. It's going to be a good match, I think, and it's certainly one to look forward to. Big enough match, to sell the pay-per-view, I think. Because basically, it's a 1 or 2 match pay-per-view. There's no world title on the line. So this is when a brand splitted pay-per-view, a joint pay-per-view would come in handy. Because you probably would have a Raw and Smackdown Elimination Chamber. But then you'd have a couple of good matches in between as well on the card. You might have the world title on the line or something like that just to beef it up a bit more. So that's something to think about. Something that, might have to consider that these pay-per-views might get better. But anyways, so Miz in the chamber first. Probably, if it's a triple threat, I think to be fair, if storyline wise, a triple threat match to start, it's got to be Miz, Finn, and Seth, because the 2 guys that shouldn't even be in the match got lucky They both won, but so the second chance to be in it, and Seth wasn't even originally going to be in it. They should probably start the Chamber as well, so we'll see. Speaking of Elimination Chamber, Ronda Rousey announced to be at the Elimination Chamber signing her official Raw contract. Well, look, it's a nice little way to boost up some interest in the Elimination Chamber, and probably will be the start of the seeds being planted for a WrestleMania match. I would say Stephanie McMahon will be out there to help make the contract official. And she might talk down on Ronda Rousey. She might even confront Ronda Rousey. She might get physical with Ronda Rousey. And maybe Ronda will slap her down, throw her down, do something. And they'll start off that feud. And it's probably the right way to do it, the right time to do it. And then we'll give them just enough time to build up to something at WrestleMania. And the rumored match, obviously, is going to be Triple H, Stephanie versus Ronda and somebody else. Rumor obviously being The Rock. If they can't get The Rock, probably Kurt Angle. I think even Seth Rollins' name was thrown in there as well. Probably that's the last resort, I would say, to bring Seth Rollins in for it. But Kurt Angle would probably be the best choice if they can't get The Rock. And we talked about that earlier on a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see. But I think a mixed tag is certainly the right way to go about Ronda Rousey. Sasha vs. Bayley this week on Raw was really good. Still, just when you thought maybe that the turn was going to happen, and it hasn't. But I still think Sasha is slowly getting there. I think this is a realistic opportunity for Sasha to do the turn. Bayley beats her in front of her home crowd, so she got a great reaction. It's a pretty good crowd, actually. So she got a great reaction, and probably the resurrection of Bayley's career is happening. I mean, Bayley has not done much for a long time, so thank God for that. Otherwise, God knows what would happen to her. But, nice win for her. And we'll see what happens with her and Sasha next. I don't think they're going to turn that into a feud. Not just yet, anyways. I think Sasha probably will win the Women's Championship and then defend it at WrestleMania. Possibly against Asuka, possibly against Alexa, maybe in a multi-women's match. Don't know. Elias and Strowman. What a segment this week was. Elias coming out, doing his usual thing, playing a song for the crowd, getting a great reaction. The crowd were loving Elias, doing his catchphrase, booing him when he was playing. Elias was on fire here tonight. Braun Strowman comes out with his massive cello, I think it is, tries to play it and breaks it immediately, which was hilarious. It wasn't meant to happen. He was meant to play it and sing at the same time, but he said he doesn't even know his own strength and broke the damn thing trying to play it, which I feel like was a blessing in disguise. It just made him look even better, like, oh, this big son of a bitch just broke the instrument as he's trying to play it. Just kind of put him over even more. And then he sung a little bit. It wasn't even bad. It was not too bad. And it worked. Came out. We all wanted to see him beat up Elias with it. It happened. And it's a nice little mini feud heading into the Chamber. It's certainly got my interest. They've shifted Elias away from Cena for a little bit and turned him to Braun. And it's working. I'd like to see these two have a genuine feud. I'm a huge fan, as I said, of Elias. I think he's so good. I'm hoping they keep pushing the guy. I'm hoping they keep this spot open for him and hope he just keeps on knocking out the park. I'm sure they're seeing it. I'm sure they're seeing the reaction he's getting, the support he's getting. He's got to be in this position for a while. They've got to keep on pushing him. And as I said, get him in the IC title sometime this year. Get him a championship. He's doing so well. And Strowman has been red hot for months. I've been saying it on this show for months that this guy should be world champion right now. But for whatever reason, they've kept it on Lesnar. Looks like it's going to be Reigns and Lesnar. But geez, it'd be good to have Strowman in there somehow. And Strowman walk out of Mania as champion. Geez, that would be good. Not going to happen, but it'd be really, really good. But that's Raw. That's pretty much all we've got time for in terms of Raw. And Smackdown, we kind of covered a little bit of it, but Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin, so they had a couple of matches this week on SmackDown. A couple of good matches, yeah, for sure. Some good matches. Baron Corbin beating Owens, Ziggler beating Zayn. We talked about that a little bit. But both winning and both being added in to make a fatal 5-way at Fastlane. So we didn't expect this. We thought, yeah, it's going to be a fatal 4-way. I thought maybe Ziggler would get in, but they've added in both to make it a 5-way. Apparently they've done this and obviously making the Elimination Chamber match a bit bigger to try and make it a little bit unknown what's going to happen at WrestleMania. They're wanting a bit more of a mystery and a surprise and that element of doubt of what's going to happen. They want it to be, there. And regards to their big matches at WrestleMania. So I think we kind of know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be AJ and Nakamura. I think that's a definite. For the Raw side of things, I still feel like Reigns and Lesnar is going to happen. But you never know. There's a small chance they might shift it to Strowman. Very small. But most likely, we already know what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Just the other matches, I don't know. Cena going to feud with The Undertaker. I mean, if it's going to happen, you'd think it's going to happen soon. Start soon. Who else? What's Strowman do? Does he go after The Miz? I'm not keen on that match. That's the rumor. I'm not real keen on it. Strowman win the IC title. I feel like it's a step back. I think you've got to give him the world title. If you want to give him the IC title, give it to him a year ago when he's mowing down everybody and he's in the mid card beating up job guys. Get him for the IC title then. But now he's at a world title. He's a main event top guy. You've got to get the world title. He's moved on past the IC title at this point. But yes, a lot of WrestleMania matches we just don't know yet, and hopefully the next few weeks we start to figure it out. They're making a bit of a storyline of the Smackdown top 10, not a hell of a lot, but there's a little bit of storyline to it, which is good to see that are actually utilizing this top 10 list. Randy Orton not being on the list, making storylines and segments out of it, which is okay. How often are they going to update this list? Is it once a month, every week? I don't know. But, at least to try and do something with it. I still feel like it's a bit of a shitty list. Was Ty Dillinger even on SmackDown this week? I don't know. Even though he was top 10, it was even on. I don't remember. But certainly they're trying to do something out of it with Jinder not being on the list, Rusev not being on the list, and, getting called out about it. With Bobby Roode there and Randy Orton. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but at least to try and do something. And last little thing about SmackDown, Sarah Logan. She had a singles match with Charlotte this week. Sarah Logan almost makes Dana Brooke look good, and that's an issue. She's not ready. Called up far too soon, didn't have any time in NXT. She's not ready. I feel bad for her. Her character sucks. Her ring work just isn't up to scratch at the moment. She's lucky she's in this group, otherwise she'd be really found out. But here people are, bagging out Roman Reigns every week, or Jason Jordan, when they've got Sarah Logan getting just as much TV time and shitting the bed just as much. So, look, I think wrestling fans kind of pick and choose who they hate, but I think you got to give everyone a fair go. If there's a few people not doing well, it's like when Kalisto was shitting the bed and he was the US champion at the time. Nobody was really, caring. They're too busy on Roman Reigns, but there's other guys on the card just as bad, if not worse, getting as much TV time. So if you're going to call, some wrestlers out, call everyone out that's not performing. And I don't think Sarah Logan is performing up to the best. But I don't think it's her fault. I think it's WWE giving her this opportunity when she clearly was not ready. So it'd be interesting to see. Will they put her back down once this group is done? When the Riot Squad disbands, probably after WrestleMania, when they just have Ruby Riot go out on her own. Probably as champion, I could see her, winning the championship, getting the belt, and kind of kicking the other two to the side, saying she doesn't need them anymore. She did it all on her own, kicking them to the side. I could see Sarah Logan going back down to NXT, and probably Liv Morgan will stay up. But I feel like she's got to spend a good year or two in NXT at least. There's other women that are way more ready than her. Last little piece of news we got before we get into some questions. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show this week. Not a lot of topics to really get into other than the ones we just kind of discussed. We've raced through a few of them is what I'm trying to say. Mahbali Shera. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he was an Impact guy. That Indian Impact wrestler. He kind of featured very heavily when they went to India. He's been signed to the WWE. He'll be in NXT very soon. Interesting decision. It just feels like WWE is signing everyone. Anyone that's kind of been around, a bit of a name or done anything, they're just signing everyone. It feels like WWE is just playing TW. When I'm playing TW, I remember I was WCW, 2003 or 4 WCW. I resurrected WCW in 2001, and I'm playing as WCW, and everybody that I knew that was half decent in years to come that just debuted, I was signing everyone. So essentially, I had signed every single decent worker that was going to debut over the next 5 years. I'd sign them all. So when WWE eventually has Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, all those guys retire, there's going to be nobody for them to get because I've already got them all. It feels like WWE's trying to do that. They're just trying to sign everyone. Everyone they can. They're just going to try and get everybody. And there's a few guys out there, New Japan's still got plenty of names, but WWE's trying. They're trying their best. If they got a name, if they're pretty decent, they're bringing them in. So, credit to them, but they're really getting a lot of guys down in NXT. You'd have to feel like there's going to be some cuts coming soon, and a lot of people you'd have to think, because there can't be room for everyone, surely. And it doesn't even feel special at this point. You bring in a guy, he's just joining the list of guys down there. He's just like another body, another name. It's not really a big deal if they're getting a signee. They're just bringing in another dude, and. Still waiting for them to sign Lashley. I'm still waiting for that. I'm hoping they do. Has EC3 made his debut? I don't know. I'm waiting for that to happen. It might happen. I'd probably say EC3 may debut at the TakeOver before WrestleMania. I'd say that at WrestleMania week, and he might make his in-ring debut then. Maybe with the championship. Maybe have him win the belt night one. Why not? But they're making a lot of signings, and probably doesn't seem to, probably can't see it stopping anytime soon. But it'd be interesting to see who else they do bring in. Impact is basically on its last legs. It's really struggling at this point. And there's other promotions that you probably can look more forward to. A lot of promotions are now using Twitch as an avenue to get their name out, which is good. The NWA, they're trying their best to bring that back into the fold. House of Hardcore is cool. House of Hardcore is coming to Australia again. I might try and go to it. I think New Japan's actually in Australia right now. Unfortunately, not coming to my city. Otherwise, I would have went for sure. Even though I don't watch New Japan, but any major wrestling show that's coming to town, I'm going to it. But I don't think they're coming here. If they were, or if they are, I might have a look into it. But I'm pretty sure they're not. But if they were, I would have went. But it's good to see more wrestling coming here. But so there's still plenty of good wrestling out there, and still plenty of other wrestling promotions to take a look at and look into. I personally just stay with WWE because it's what I know, it's what I like, and there's a lot of wrestlers in WWE that I really do like watching, and there's not many that's outside of WWE that I'm really interested in getting into or checking out. So, that's just my opinion. But a little bit of gaming chat. I mean, obviously just playing a lot of Fortnite. That's really all I've been playing this week. But not much else other than Fortnite, as I said. But looking forward to a lot of the games coming out soon. Far Cry, that's looking really good. God of War looking really good. So some of those games I'm really looking forward to as well. So not a lot of gaming chat to really get into this week, but we might just skip ahead, get into the questions, and start to wrap the show up. So let's get straight into them. Alrighty, so the first question coming in from Ryan Fleming. I've got a bit behind on your Universe Mode videos. Where would you recommend I start from in 2K18? What is your favorite ever WWE game as well? Alright, so I would probably say Survivor Series would be the best way to start. That kind of is the combination of a lot of different major events that's happened in recent times. So I would start on that one. We explain a lot of what's been going on in recent times on that pay-per-view, and a lot of promo videos as well that will explain it. So you can watch that and you can easily get back in the series. If not, I would probably say the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble coming up, you can find out who wins the Rumble and then have the road to WrestleMania to kind of watch and look at. So it's always easy to get into WWE when you're watching Royal Rumble period, because then you can bang, alright, this guy's going to WrestleMania, these guys are the champions, let's see what happens. You know the basis of what's going to happen. So I would probably say either Survivor Series or maybe the Royal Rumble in a couple of weeks' time. Favorite ever WWE game is got to be 2007 WWE Smackdown vs. Raw. Got to be. Such a good game. GMO was great. Good roster. Loved it. Great soundtrack as well. Thomas Speller, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? What did you and your girlfriend do for it? Normally we don't. Well, normally I don't. I normally don't care for it. She always wants to do something, but I normally don't really care for it. It's just another day for me. But this year we did something, not a lot, but just a movie day, just a stay-at-home movie day. But normally I don't do a lot with it. I don't know. I just don't really care for it. You could do it any day. Why does it have to be one specific day? You can celebrate. But Yeah, so normally I don't, because if you want to go out and they up the prices of everything, or make it harder and more busier, so you just do it the next day and it's just as easy. But it's saying you do exactly the same stuff, but makes it even easier and cheaper. Ryan Austin Feemstar, if you had to bring a current wrestler to the podcast as a special guest, who would that be and why? That's a tough one. I guess going along the lines of Ziggler earlier today, I wouldn't mind picking his brain as to what's keeping him in WWE, what's motivating him, why hasn't he made the jump, those types of things. Just kind of thinking of that right now in current topic, that would be interesting for me. In terms of, you'd obviously interview like some of your favorite wrestlers like Elias and Strowman, but other than talking about their career history and how they're feeling about what's going on right now, wouldn't be a lot of great topics to get into, like, interesting or, newsworthy topics you could talk about. So maybe you wouldn't go with that. So I'm just trying to think of who could I bring on to have a really interesting, topic. I mean, bring on Enzo to explain his story would be awesome, but I don't really want to talk about that. But, I don't know. I guess you could bring on you got a couple of choices. You want to bring on someone for, to ask them a question that you want to really know the answer to, or you could bring on your favorite wrestler and just shoot the breeze and chat about it. So, could go in either direction. So, I don't particularly know, but it depends on the time of the story, or just, Elias or Strowman or someone like that is my favorite wrestlers right now. Bobby Roode as well. Jeremy Bastian, do you think Seth Rollins' character is sort of stale? If so, how would you freshen his character? Absolutely stale. What's his gimmick? What is he? What is Seth Rollins? He's the King Slayer. He's the Architect. Okay. What's he done differently now since his injury or anything other than turning babyface? Not a lot. It's not really a lot changed. It is stale. The only thing that's been interesting about him is the Burn It Down theme song, and now he's put flames on his ring gear. So that's all he's really changed. It's been the same thing. How would you freshen it up? Well, I don't know. You just have to take his character in a different direction. Just, give him a sense of direction, a sense of purpose. Find out what his character wants. Obviously he wants to be world champion. Well, figure out how he's going to do it. Figure out how he's going to get there. How do we get Seth Rollins a world champion? Do we make him meaner? Do we make him smarter? Do we make him stronger? What do we have to do? And kind of find out a pathway for Seth Rollins and take it. I don't really have the answers, because if I do, I should be working there and not, sitting here on a podcast. I don't have the answers, but it is an issue. I think Seth Rollins is very good. I think he should be world champion again at some point. I'm sure he will be, but he definitely needs a freshener up. Working with Jason Jordan hasn't helped him, but that's not his own fault. Dean Ambrose went down. It is what it is, but he's tried to make the best out of a bad situation. So we'll see how he goes at WrestleMania time. What's he going to be involved with? I don't know. I think he'll probably be just stuck in the mid-card match, maybe thrown into a multi-man match, which is a shame, but I guess that's where he's at right now. Maybe in a tag team title match. I don't know. But he definitely needs something. So after WrestleMania, I'd be looking at taking him in a different direction as a singles. Because the only time Seth Rollins has been interesting is when he's been with the Shield. Same with Ambrose. Thomas Bella, if this is your last year on Universe Mode, how do you want the series to end? That's something I haven't thought about. I don't know. To me, I would just end it at WrestleMania with, the things that needed to happen at WrestleMania happening. Just having it just be business as usual, and just ending it like, ending a big storyline and, end it like that. But just ending it like I would end a WrestleMania, and that's it. And just kind of stop it as if you could watch it again the next day, or you could, as if you're watching the show as usual. Just stop it like it's not actually ending. Stop it like it's just, the storylines have ended, so-and-so wins the world title or retains the title, and just stop it like it's, any other show. It's WrestleMania, but, stop it like you could see another episode the next day. I don't think I'd ever end it definitively, because that would always close the door on it, and I don't want to close the door on it And I don't think I'm going to be ending it at WrestleMania this year. I feel like we're going to get another season of Universe Mode in. So it won't be ending anytime soon. I still haven't got a job yet, so still hunting for a job. It might take a while to get one still. It's looking pretty difficult for me to get one at the moment. So definitely going to be still doing YouTube very regularly. I'm still going to try and... I definitely want to do 2K19. So I'm going to try my best to keep it going until then and then beyond that. So, I'd love to get 5 seasons. If we can hit 5 seasons, 5 years of Universe Mode and wrap that up, that would be epic. That would be fantastic. So I haven't thought about the end, but it's something I might have to think about when we do get closer to it. And then we'll think about it then. Cameron Fox, are you a fan of Bobby Lashley? Yeah, I am. And I've been talking about it recently. And I would love to see him back in the WWE. I really would. Yeah, he's in the 40s, but so what? I think he can still do it. I think he can still go. I think he can still make it entertaining and fun. A Lesnar match, even though Lesnar's been really shitty, I still think that would be money. I would like to see it. Thomas Speller, what's your favourite title belt of all time in WWE? When I first started watching wrestling in 2005, the Batista had the big gold belt, the World Heavyweight Championship, the WCW Heavyweight Championship, basically. So that's always been my favourite. That was the first championship that I really noticed and took interest in, and since then, it's always been the one belt that I took the most interest in until they really made it pretty shitty at the end of it. But for a while there, that was the belt that I was always looking forward to seeing defended the most or had the most interest in. So, and I really like the design of it. It feels like a legitimate championship, especially at the time when WWE had the spinner belt for Cena and so on. That looked kind of shitty. I wasn't as a kid, I liked it. I thought it was cool, but looking back now, I don't think it's really that great. So, definitely the World Heavyweight Championship, and it's such prestige behind it as well until they ruined it. And Austin Plus, would you do a video with your girlfriend one day? That's the final question of today's show. Probably not. Probably not. She's been in some vlogs in the background, but not on camera. She's not a real camera person. Neither am I, really, to be honest. So, no, I don't think so. It's content that I'm not really interested in doing, and yeah, it's not for me. Not for me. But you might hear her voice in some videos, but probably not on camera or anything like that. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for this edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. If you've got a question for next week's show, let me know by posting a comment in the YouTube comment section down below. Post your question there or over on the Facebook page, facebook.com/BrendanPlays. You can leave a question there. We normally post up the Facebook post after Smackdown. So after Smackdown, you finish watching, go over there, leave your question for next week's show. And as always, if you can leave a like on this episode, I'd be really appreciated. The more likes, the more it helps. The more I know that you're enjoying the podcast. Tell a friend about it, and obviously check us out on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio to get your podcast fix on other different platforms. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss any episodes from me about Let's Talk Thursdays or any of my other videos that I'm doing. And of course, this weekend I'll be streaming some TWWE, so come along and check it out. Should be lots of fun. And I'm going to try and do some Fortnite as well, so keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know on Twitter @BrendanPlays when I'll be streaming. Well, thank you for watching and listening in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next Thursday.